Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Judge Rutherford.
Present.
Magistrate Anderson.
Here.
Magistrate Johnson is on his way. Magistrate Murphy. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Here.
Magistrate Harris.
Here.
Magistrate Johnson's on his way. He called in. We will now have Pledge of Allegiance by Magistrate Murphy, who is a veteran. You have in your packet a copy of the minutes of the April 16 meeting of the Pike County Fiscal Court and the May 1 meeting, special meeting of the Pike County Fiscal Court. Need a motion to approve. Jeannie and I have reviewed these minutes and found them to be correct. You have a motion, Magistrate Murphy, second Magistrate Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson is not here yet. Magistrate Murphy.
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson.
Yes.
Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. Pike County, a lot of things have been going on in Pike County since the last court meeting. And Hillbilly Days 2013, Hillbilly Days was again a great success. It is the second largest festival in the Commonwealth. I've been blessed 35 or 36 out of the 37 years to open Hillbilly Days. The 1 year I missed, Judge Hayes handled it that year. He was Judge Pro Tem back in the 70s. But it was a success, and it was a success because we're able to raise money for the Crippled Children's Hospital in Lexington and for the Burn Hospital in Cincinnati. So yes, Hillbilly Days was great. It was great to have Howard Stratton, one of the founders, and Jimmy Kinney, whose son of Grady Kinney, the other founder, who was able to take part this year. We was able to have excellent coverage by Pike TV, and we thank Al Greenfield and his people that work for Pike TV for what they did for Hillbilly Days. We will be having a follow-up meeting. The committee will in the next few days, as soon as Jeannie and can work with them and get it set up. We always have in excess of 100,000 people in this small county seat town of Pikeville for this event. This year, I think, if I remember, there was over 300 vendors that was in. So Larry Webster did his great job, as he usually does, is bringing us some music. Mr. Prater and Mr. May at the courthouse here at Pikeville, they always do a great job for us, and it's the old-time mountain music, bluegrass, country. So it is Hillbilly Days of 2013 was a great success. We look forward to next year, and we look forward to Hillbilly Days being an event that we was able to have people, I think, from 17 different states. That's what I was told. So certainly it was, but we want to remember the purpose was to raise money for those crippled children. This event has contributed more than $1 million to the Crippled Children's Hospital in Lexington, besides the money that's been given to the Burn Hospital in Cincinnati. So next we had on the courthouse square we read in the state's newspapers that the Big Sandy River is dead. They call it the Dead River at times. And folks, this year, Charles Carlton, who is the president of the Big Sandy River Coalition, is part of the Ojai River Coalition. It runs all the way into Virginia, the headwaters of the Big Sandy. And we was able to get the Kentucky Department of Natural Resources to come in and go to our river in the Millard area And you can look on the monitor and look on the screen at the fish you got. That's one trip, one shock. And it was every species that was ever in the Big Sandy River. This is a blue stream declared by the state, which means that it's a stream that you can attract tourists and they can fish in. So the Department of Fish and Wildlife has proven beyond a doubt that this, and they brought this here, the fishes of the Big Sandy River, for the purpose of people to understand and our visitors to understand, because this event is economic development, tourism, bringing people to Pike County. So it is, I might add that this is sponsored, the Hillbilly Days and all of this, and we couldn't have done this without the help of the city of Pikeville. We couldn't have had the event on Hillbilly Days for 37 years if the city of Pikeville wasn't involved in it. So yes, we work with Pikeville when it's the best interest of the people of the entire Pike County. We disagree with them, we say we disagree with them. And you will probably find that out today. We don't, but where you say that we're dead, we are a blue stream, as I said, which means that we can advertise this as a stream tourists can come in and fish in. I say this because my neighbor, Dr. Wheeler, told me some time ago that he can walk from his house either direction and within 2 hours bring me back a big mess of fish. So he said there are plenty of fish in this stream. We have a pro fisherman here in Pikeville and Pike County, and he advised us at a meeting the other day that the biggest bass that he had caught since he had been on the pro tour had been from the Big Sandy River. So this is well enough alive, it is. Then we had the autism walk. Jeannie, I want to thank you and your committee. This was something that was started 5 years ago, because the autism was a disease that nobody knew much about. Autism we wanted to make the people aware that if you took a child when it was very young and you had counseling, and you would have that child would have a chance to grow into adult and be a productive adult and to live near a normal life. So we got together in county government, partnered again with the city of Pikeville. We want the newspaper to please notate that, Mr. Anderson. We partnered with them, and I was talking to the other Mr. Anderson from the newspaper office, Magistrate Anderson. But we read in the paper of all of this fighting going on. Now, sure, we're going to fight for Pike County, every one of us up here. But I guess those fellows over there in the city, they're going to fight for their city, Mr. Anderson. But we work together despite what we have to read in your paper. We work together on anything that's good for the total number of people in Pike County. Jeannie, what a success we had this year. We had, and I want to add, when you pull it up on here, you have you have Food City involved in it this year. Food City's owner, which is the Smith family, they have taken this autism on as a fundraiser in every store. 103 stores, somebody said, in several states. They're going to sell a video on autism. Right here it is. This is going to be in every one of their stores. This is going to be for sale for $15. Folks, it brought tears in everybody's eyes when the East Ridge boys, Magistrate Murphy, when they sang this song down there. It's just unbelievable that we have these three right here from this county who are God-fearing people, caring enough. You had one of these who had a blessed child. And he talked about, he didn't know, Carl, until 5 years ago. He didn't know anything about autism until he started becoming aware of it because of this. This autism awareness thing that we have had every year caused the Kentucky legislature, it caused our state senators and our legislators to introduce legislation to require insurance companies in this Commonwealth to pay for counseling for these blessed children, to give them a chance in life. And that passed, and the governor signed it. And I said before this awareness walk started, that some of the insurance companies now are refusing to pay, and the state is having to whatever they have to do to take them to court or whatever they have to do to get them to pay for the counseling that is law and on the books. They didn't get all the legislation that they wanted, but the regular session of the General Assembly this coming January, there will be other bills introduced in the House and the Senate by our legislators who, from this walk and from this committee and from the people who care, will be striving to get more legislation to help these blessed children. So again, that was David Taylor and Richie Rose and Mr. Fields. You know them well. They're your neighbors, Master Murphy, and we're just blessed that they're able to come and to take part in this year. And you when you watch this program on Pike TV, you'll get to hear this song, "Don't Weep for Me." And I mean, it is a touching song. Even David Taylor told me that he said, I almost lost it looking out into this crowd at those parents and grandparents who hugging those kids as I stood up there to sing. But another great event that Pikeville and Pike County worked together on and caused to happen. We know that we have a beautiful county here in the Central Appalachia. One of the most beautiful counties in Central Appalachia is Pike County. Oh, these beautiful mountains, what we have in this mountains. We love our mountains. We want to keep it clean. A lot of things have happened through this Pike County Fiscal Court that brought a solid waste system to the county. Started many years ago, back in the 70s when I served early term in office. Then it really picked up when Governor Patton sat in this seat, and all the judges contributed to it. But what this court has done, and what Jimmy Dale Sanders, who is the pride director that works for Bobby Mullins, Bobby is a commissioner, and what we have done, and this cleanup is an educational program. Mrs. Brown, Pride Committee, she goes into the schools, and we thank the Pike County Board of Education for being a partner with the Pike County Fiscal Court and the Pride Committee. And we go into schools during the school year, and they teach. They teach from coloring books and all to help clean our county up and keep it clean. As you noticed, and can look on the monitor and on your TV set, they have this cleanup every year. We was up with Magistrate Johnson in his area twice, and they're in other areas of the county. We picked up, and we have if you noticed, we have the state involved in it, state officers and the sheriff's office. You see on the screen a deputy and a state officer who, of course, is there in their vehicles to try to keep these kids safe as they pick up along the roadways and in the ditches. So is another success this year. Every year, we usually submit the number of bags of garbage. This year, we've been blessed by the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, who has partnered with us. And I had asked Bobby to go down and meet with Mrs. Holbrook, the district engineer. She told me that their cleanup was going to be the same time as ours. and they would like to participate. And so I asked Bobby to go down and meet with her and give her the forms to fill out, because theirs goes in a truck and we have to have the bag. Every year, we win of all the counties in the 5th Congressional District, and usually they either come here or we go to Somerset to accept an award of picking up the most garbage and cleaning up our roadways and cleaning up. We go a little further in the one in the spring, the Pike County government. We have a paint up, clean up, fix up in the spring, and of course that gives an opportunity for our people to clean their property up, to fix their fences, to mend their houses, to make Pike County a place. We also have a blighted housing program. We've had about 155 moved out of the county. It is one that this court started. It is the most popular, one of the most popular things that we do through our solid waste program. And we passed an ordinance which the county attorney's office, and I saw the county attorney here just a minute ago, and of course we have Mr. Case up here with us. But they put together an ordinance based upon 3 from the National Association of Counties, 2 from the State Association, CACO, and the City of Pikeville's ordinance. And this court passed that ordinance, and we started this blighted housing program. We have cleaned, blighted, dilapidated houses up, dangerous with rodents, snakes. It had fell in. We have a criteria where they have to make a judgment whether or not it's a blighted house. And once we make that judgment, one thing that we're careful not to do is violate anybody's private property rights. So the county attorney's office keeps us understanding that. We have a fund that's set up, and we get all of it researched of who owns the property. We have to post it in the paper. If we don't get anything back of a property owner, then we have to put a 4/8 sign in it. It takes about 120 days to get for us to action. What has happened, 4 people has removed dilapidated houses because we put a lien on it. And after a year, then the property can be sold. So this program that we have is a PRIDE program is successful. The blighted housing program is very successful. We have the Pike County Horse Trail Ride coming up, one of the most beautiful rides in Central Appalachia. We are waiting. We have submitted a document to the owner of 1,800 acres, who I understand from Judge Hayes has said that he is going to sign it and get it back to us. Then we will have the right. We are at the head of Lick Creek. This is usually have about 285 to 300 horses and participants. They ride 6 miles back in. We provide, I'm talking about the county employees. We have several sponsors, UMG being one, and we provide food for all of these people that come. We have them especially from West Virginia and Virginia. Now, when you get back in, you can see from what the photographs that Judge Hayes took last year, this is for young people. This year, we have another sponsor. It is the Pike County Extension Office. So Mrs. Froman met with us, my staff, Judge Hayes, last week. They're becoming involved, and it's called 4-H Fun. And they're going to have contests on, and it tells you that it's going to be on photography, it's going to be on drawings, and they're going to give out the extension office and we're looking in the future to have classes where a child can, because we are a horse area. Now, I know that you see the sign in Lexington says that Fayette County, Lexington, is America's horse capital. They have more thoroughbred horses than any county in the Commonwealth. Folks, due to the size of our county, we have more horses, which are pleasure horses, than any county in the Commonwealth. You can go up and down the creeks and hollows and see the horse trailers and the barns. So this horse ride comes up on May the 18th. We have one in the spring. We have one in the fall. Terry Rogers is here. Terry Rogers is sitting back here, a county employee who is the guide for it. Judge Hayes helped coordinate it. Our staff helps. We have volunteers that goes up and they cook an unbelievable meal. But I'm going to ask Judge Hayes if he has anything to add to that. I think I got everything in that we had. The next thing we have is as you know, on our veterans, this court is very serious about what we do for our veterans. You know, if you go downstairs in the Veterans Hallway, which has received a national award, we've had we had a group from Louisiana, we've had from Indiana come in and look at this because we have put our people who served, and many gave all for our country to keep our freedom. We have put them on a computer and on a disk, and you can pull them up on the computer, or it rolls 24 hours a day in that hallway downstairs. I know a little bit about that. We lost the only one that gave all from this county, who went in from this county too, was in my family, and he gave his life in Iraq. So my family well understand those who gave all. But we have just had a groundbreaking. Chick Johnson was there, and Judge Hayes was there. I was in Frankfurt. They had a groundbreaking on a veterans homeless apartments up to Douglas, property owned by Pike County government, leased to Mountain Mental Health. So, and we have a Veterans Day. All of you know that's been here and watched it on Pike TV. We have one of the best ceremonies of any place in this country, right here in this courtroom, every year, recognizing our veterans. They'll be in here for the Veterans Day. It's on July 3 to 7, July the 3rd to the 7th. We'll point out we partnership with the city of Pikeville because they had to use the soccer field to have it on. And I'll repeat, we work with the city of Pikeville when it's things that's good for all the people in Pike County. And then of course, we have to read that we're in a battle all the time, and we don't get along for nothing. But the Vietnam Wall will be at the soccer field at Bob Amos Park. And Jeannie and Bobby Branham went to Charleston, West Virginia, met with them. The court took this on as a project. The city commission took it on as a project. We have to follow their guidelines. They will come in from the south, and they will be met with a sheriff's car and a city police car with their motorcycle. And I think you've noticed that they have a motorcycle rider. That's required by the government, the people that brings it in. And it will give people some closure. And we had a lot of people who gave all from this county. And it will give people some closure that will never be able to go to the wall in Washington. Some people in this room, Judge Hayes and others, have been to the wall. But these blessed people will never be able to go. So we have an announcement to make. Did I get everything on that one, Judge Hayes? We are, let me say this physical court, and we know that we have budget problems we had last year, but this court, because they're dedicated to veterans, they come up with a meager amount of money, and the city commission came up with the same amount, $1,000. This don't come here free. So we brought in all of the Veterans Association. This is a Central Appalachian thing. This is a Mingo County, West Virginia, Buchanan County, Virginia, Dickerson County, Virginia, Wise County, and all eastern Kentucky. That's what this is for. That's the reason we're having it. They came in, the first meeting was in my conference room. We had some in at the second meeting. We had to bring them out here. But Judge Hayes reminded me that they are raising money in your community today, whether it's $5 or $10. Now, we've had some people who care, who've read about this in the paper, who's come into the office, and I've said this. I received a call from Larry Thacker, who's probably done as much for the veterans in this county as any businessman. He was eating breakfast up to Jerry's with another businessman. And he said, we're just talking about this wall and honoring our veterans. And he said, we've decided that we're going to contribute, and he's going to match me. I'm going to bring a check for $500. Many of you saw that in the paper where they had come in delivering their check, but that's not it. $5 or $10, $20 that these people with these associations is out asking for so that we can raise the money. 2 helicopters are being brought in to be on display up there for pictures for the kids. But we know when these Vietnam veterans come back, they was not treated well by our country. They were not appreciated by America. It's a sad day on America of what they did to these veterans. So we are trying and doing all we can do to bring this wall here and to do the things we do for veterans to show our appreciation of those thousands who gave their life and gave all for the freedom of right to come here and have this meeting. Be blessed.
Judge, if I may just add one comment, very briefly. We like to remind people, because of the service that he gave to his country, that we have a member of this court who is a Vietnam veteran. I don't want to embarrass Magistrate Leo Murphy, but it shouldn't be an embarrassment. We ought to recognize and honor our veterans wherever we find them and wherever we see them. And Leo, he's a dedicated magistrate in this county and serves the people of his district and the entire county and this court well. But he was at one of our meetings on the wall right here in this courtroom, the second one we had, and that's the kind of support he's been giving. And he may want to just make a comment, Judge.
Before you comment, Leo, I was blessed with the opportunity to be with Leo Murphy and others at Arlington National Cemetery. And I'd have to say this, Leo, we all broke down, not only you, but we all did, to look at those markers at Arlington National Cemetery. But we knew how you felt then. We saw it. We saw how you felt about your patriots over there that many didn't come home. But if you have any remarks to make, go right ahead.
No, I am a Vietnam veteran, and I'm proud of it, and this wall will mean a whole lot to people. And actually, there's 58,000 lives lost over there. And to me, the only heroes are those guys there, and everything.
Correct.
I feel blessed that I made it back and everything. And we'll have opening ceremonies, I believe 9 o'clock on July the 4th. And David Taylor, that's in this group here, will be singing God Bless America, and you need to be there to hear it. Lee Greenwood made millions off that record, but David Taylor does it 10 to 1 better than he does. I believe the judge and them vouch for that too. So.
Go right ahead, Judge Hayes.
Magistrate Dotson reminds me that Jack Wolford, judge, is in our courtroom in attendance, and he also is a Vietnam veteran. And so, Jack, we certainly thank you for your service.
Thank you. The only other thing I have, we have a coal miners reunion up to Long Fork Park, and we was asked to announce it, and it is annually, and they have a number to get to them. All you got to do is bring a cupboard to each, and that's on June the 8th, 1 o'clock to 10 p.m. They have music and so forth. And what a beautiful park that Magistrate Johnson has dedicated himself to from nothing but a blank or empty bottom. And we was able to get that with cooperation of the Board of Education. Only other thing that I have I talked to the manager of Food City, Magistrate Harris, We have discussed at court before about the recycling bin that was over to Walmart's over in Pond Creek at Goody, and that due to parking, they needed to be relocated. And I talked to the manager today, and for Bobby and to Magistrate Harris, told him that we'll be moving it. He tickled to death and said, and I told him we would meet when it was moved. You could get a picture, and Food City again, what they mean to this area and what they contribute to this area. So we will be moving that bin if it hadn't been moved. And Bobby, I think you said you had a new one that you're going to take over there, Magistrate Harris, and it'll be a new bin, and then he'll bring the other back and clean it up, and it'll go to some other magisterial districts. We looked possibly up in the Elkhorn City or some other area, so you need to look in your area, the other magistrates do, and you all know where we have the bin presently. The only other thing I got, we have not received the correspondence or the what we need to start construction on the road at Fish Trap. So it will not be on the agenda tonight to amend the contracts, but it will be on the agenda at the next court meeting, and hopefully we would get the permission and the easement to start construction. So on the announcements, that's all I have on the announcement. Next thing we have is the Artist Collaborative Theater. Folks, this theater is in Elkhorn City, supported by this court. I'm on the Extension Board. The Extension Board has an employee, which is Stephanie Richards, and I might add, Stephanie had to be in Lexington today, but she had Mrs. Stewart, and we'll get to her in a minute, but she had to be the doctor today. But the ACT Theater, the Artist Collaborative Theater, this fiscal court, as these members know, have contributed a vast amount of money for that theater to get started. So it's the awards that this theater has already received. And topping it off with this national awards that Pat and I was able to go to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the national convention and receive for this theater is just unbelievable. This court, in honoring the Hatfield and McCoys and being part of tourism, wanted to put an AMPA-type theater over in Blackberry, where most everything happened on the Hatfield and McCoys. So we of course went to Ms. Richards and her board, and then they put together the Hatfield and McCoy Arts Council, which is made up of Christopher Coleman, chairman, Stephanie Richards, Lauren Stewart, that's Lauren Stewart at the podium, Andrea Coleman, Betty Phillips Howard, we all know Betty, a historian, Vicki Pinson, Randall Osborne, who's been chairman of the Pike County Heritage Commission, our Jason Justice, he's going to be before us shortly. So it is, they have got together, and this court, with the guidance of Magistrate Dotson and his dedication to make sure that we're involved in it. We had some funding that's been here for a long period of time that could be spent on nothing but trailheads, and that is for restrooms and so forth at trailheads. We had a grant that was here even when I came in office last time of $100,000, but you had to match it dollar per dollar. It was later declared that this county was ineligible for that, and we never did get it. This money was never spent because we never did. We waited on the legislature for 4 years to give us some guidance on ATV trails and other trails in this county. So finally, we decided to move forward on our trails. The Hatfield and McCoy Park, beautiful park at McCarr, Kentucky, right on Blackberry Creek, where you all watched the movie. I said 80% was right, 20% was sell tickets, Darrell, but it was a great movie. But then they took it on, the Artist Collaborative Theater took it on to have an outdoor production, live outdoor production. Already at this park was existing a stage. This court in previous months have taken action to enlarge and put dressing rooms in that facility with a bathroom, and then it qualified because we have river trails with an entrance on this park going into the Tug Fork. So we have under construction, and I think you have it on here if you'll pull it up on the monitor. We have it right here. Here is what I was talking about, the stage. So let me give you the dates. These folks are here today, and they're going to do a monologue for everybody with Pike TV, the 23,000 plus that gets it in their businesses in this county, in their businesses and in their living room. Plus it goes to all Mingo County, part of Logan County, all of Martin County, all of Floyd County. And Mr. Greenfield, when they get it in, it will go into Dickerson County and to Buchanan County in the very near future. And then we'll have somewhere, Charles, around 40,000 people who view Pike TV. But we are blessed to have them here today. And Lauren Stewart, which, gosh, what a job that you've done since the board that I serve on was able to make a position and funds available, and I might add, from the taxes of the people of this county, because 4% of the property tax the people pays goes to fund the salaries of the employees of the Extension Office. So, but what a great job you've done, Lord. I know that you're going to intro us into this, and as soon as you finish, I would like to say a little bit about each one of these folks who's coming up for the monologue, including Laura Stewart.
Thank you, Judge Rutherford. As he said, my name is Lauren Stewart, and I am currently the Artistic Director at Artist Collaborative Theater. On behalf of our Executive Director, Stephanie Richards, and our entire company back home at ACT, we would like to thank Judge Rutherford, the Judge's Office, and the Fiscal Court for having us here this evening. The Hatfield-McCoy monologues that you'll hear this evening were written by Betty Howard, and they'll give you a little taste of the acting that'll be involved in our upcoming production this summer. They're also going to be performed by actors from our Artist Collaborative Theater. All of them are veterans to the stage and probably veterans to this courtroom. So, ACT is a nonprofit, all-volunteer community theater and is the most award-winning theater in the state of Kentucky. We would also like to thank Judge Rutherford and Brandon Roberts for their hard work in getting us nominated and winning the Girls in Technology Award and the NACO Award that he went to Pittsburgh and picked up last spring and brought back to us, so that was wonderful. We really appreciate all of their hard work on that. We also would like to thank the judge for his continuing work with the Pike County Extension for Fine Arts and with Artist Collaborative Theater. We have been recently chosen to work on the new official Pike County Hatfield-McCoy Arts production that's going to be the outdoor drama this summer and the newly formed Hatfield-McCoy Arts Council. We've been overwhelmed by the encouragement and enthusiastic support that Judge Rutherford, Magistrates Dotson and Harris, and the Pike County Tourism, Convention and Visitors Bureau have given ACT and the Hatfield-McCoy Arts Council on this project. They've been instrumental in the forming of the council and in the promotion of the upcoming Hatfield-McCoy production. ACT has had the pleasure of making major community and economic developments for the regions in Kentucky and Virginia surrounding Elkhorn City, and we're as proud as can be to be taking that work into Phelps, Belfry, Blackberry, and McCarr areas this summer. We're looking forward to working together with the county and with the Hatfield-McCoy Arts Council to present a high-quality production by local actors for our local public and our tourists to enjoy for many years to come. Our auditions for this production, for all of our wonderful local talent out there, will be on May the 18th from 1 to 4 p.m. over in the Phelps Public Library. While everyone's waiting for this production to come out this summer, they can come down to ACT and see Footloose, which runs May the 16th through June the 9th, or the Red Velvet Cake War, our summer comedy, which will run June 27th through July 21st. For more information on any of these productions, you can visit www.hatfieldmccoyarts.com or act4.org. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Stewart, who's going to be first on this? Jeannie, are they in order as they're on the list? The first one we have is Caitlin Howe, who is Sarah McCoy. And Caitlin, I had the pleasure of hearing this before, and I know what a job that you do. You're a sophomore at East Ridge High School, and after graduation, you will, with the honors, you plan to major in theater arts. She's been with ACT for 6 years, and some of the favorite shows, and They Dance Real Slow in Jackson, and The Grease, and 2 Samuel, and right on. So, go right ahead.
My name is Sarah McCoy, and that has been the name all of my life. I was born a McCoy, and I married a McCoy. My father's name was Samuel McCoy, and my mother's name was Elizabeth Davis. They had 17 children, and I was their 15th child. My father, Samuel, was one of the first 4 men to settle in the Tug Valley, where he soon became owner of a great deal of land. When me and my husband Randall got married, we moved to Logan County, West Virginia, near his family, but my pa wanted me near him. So he gave us a piece of land, and we moved back across the Tug and into Kentucky and built our home. Soon we had 16 children, and each one was very special to us. Now, I was very strong and determined and always insisted on avoiding violence. I never dreamed that death would come to so many of my children, and even my daughters. And I, who never even harmed anyone, would soon be beaten and left for dead. Now, my daughters were not very experienced. I hadn't even allowed them to attend social events in the community where drinking occurred. Now, my daughter Rosanna was totally unprepared for the likes of John Z. Hatfield when she met him. You see, Rosanna went to the election with her brother Tolbert, and he came back, but she didn't. Now, it didn't take long to figure out where she was. She was living in the home of Devil Anse Hatfield. Now, my other daughters made constant trips to West Virginia to try to get her to come back home, but she wouldn't. She loved Johnsy and wanted to remain there with him. Now, the Hatfields shamed my daughter Rosanna, and she came back home to me and her pa. Now, her pa couldn't forgive her, but I could, because I loved my child. I thought it was best that she go away from her pa, though, so I sent her to live with her Aunt Betty, because I knew her Aunt Betty would help take care of her and her child. I was at home the night of the election fight, where 3 of my sons were involved in the murder of Ellison Hatfield. Now, they didn't plan this murder. They just reacted to a bad situation. I was so hurt when I heard this, and I accepted that they would be taken to jail. My husband Randall went to Pikeville to await their arrival. And then I heard of the Hatfields taking my sons from Kentucky lawmen and taking them back to West Virginia. I went to the Devil's Den, and I didn't hesitate 1 minute. 3 separate times I begged and pleaded for the life of my sons. And Devil Anse assured me that nothing would happen to my sons in West Virginia. And I believed him. I believed him. I should have made him shoot me right there when he shot my sons. Tolbert was age 28. Famer was age 17. And Bud was age 18. And they were all buried in a common grave across from our home. Soon another one of my sons, Bill, died over the loss of his brothers. I was at home on New Year's Eve in 1887. I was very ill with the flu, and all of a sudden I woke up to shooting. She came running in and told me that Alifair had been shot. I was so sick, but I did the best I could to get out of bed. I went outside and Jim Vance pointed the butt of a rifle at me, but I kept trying to continue to get to my daughter. And then he beat me. I told him not to hurt her, but it was too late. I fell unconscious. 6 of my children were now dead. 6 of them. I thought I would be the only McCoy to testify against the Hatfields. But I knew the rest of my family had to, too. Rosanna also testified. She was the last child I lost. She was 29 years old. I didn't get to see the end of the Hatfield trials. But now I can finally rest at peace in Deal Cemetery.
Next we have Jason Justice, and Jason, most of us know your family, and let me give condolences from all of us of the death of your grandfather, Bob.
Thank you.
And then I seen where your Uncle Wayne, shortly time thereafter, both leading citizens of this county, which most of us up here knew both of them very well. But Jason, you graduated of Pike County Central High School and the University of Louisville. He's a member of the Arts Collaborative Theater for 8 years, and he's had roles with the company, including 2 Samuel, Greater Tuna, The Deadly Departed, The Foreigner, and on and on. And Jason is a member, as I called his name off, of the Arts Council, and he's looking forward to the summer production.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is William Anderson Hatfield, but my friends call me Devil Lance, and I don't see any reason why you fine folk couldn't call me Devil Lance too. Now, I was born in 1839 in Logan County, Virginia. Not long after that, though, it became mighty unsettling in that there neck of the woods. You see, the Civil War broke out, and there were these roving bands of Union men who would come into our communities and do whatever they pleased, and there was no law. We had to take it upon ourselves to do what needed to be done. But you see, my pa and me and 2 of my brothers, well, we had joined the Confederate Army. However, I did not hesitate to leave my post and return home to protect my kin. And folks, let me tell you, when we got back, we had our own army waiting on us. An army of friends and neighbors and family, and they were strong and they were fierce, and we put the fear of the devil himself into those filthy Union dogs. Yeah, we killed those boys. We done it. But what they would have you believe is that we killed them in cold blood. That is not the case. We learned early on in the war to take care of our own affairs. Those boys killed one of ours. They killed my brother, a good Confederate man, a faithful servant of the Lord, and the law was going to do nothing about it. Let me ask you fine folks a question. What would have you done if it had been your brother who had been killed? Been murdered? No hope of retribution from the law. No, we took care of our own. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, there was no way I was going to allow those boys to stand trial in Pikeville, Kentucky, the home of Yankee soldiers and their sons. But what my brother Wall could not see is they could also not stand trial in Virginia. Why, what if old Preacher Ants went and pulled the same thing he did during the hog trial? Pulled himself up some kind of jury of 6 Hatfields and 6 McCoys to decide the fate of my brother's killers. Now, yes, I know what you're thinking. We did have some McCoys on our side, but there were far too many Kentucky Hatfields who had served in the Union Army, many of whom were on the election grounds the day my brother Ellison was stabbed and shot. No, I did not know if we would get a fair trial at home, but what I did know is that we had to get those boys out of Kentucky and fast. So I quickly gathered my loyal supporters and my family, and we moved those McCoy boys into West Virginia. And just as I had learned to do early on in the war, I placed lookouts, real careful like, all around. See, I knew I was safe in West Virginia. Those West Virginia lawmen wanted to win their next set of elections. They'd need the votes I carried around with me in my pockets. No one challenged us. They knew my reputation from the war. Only 2 McCoys crossed the Tug River to beg for the lives of those boys. Tolbert's wife, Mary Butcher, and the boys' own mother, Sarah McCoy. Now, I must admit this did surprise me. It seemed that the McCoy men were too cowardly to come themselves, so they sent the women. But I promised those dear ladies that I would make sure that those boys made it back to the Kentucky side of the Tug alive. And as I stand here today before this fine court and the Lord himself, I'm proud to say that I kept my word to those women. Those boys did make it back into Kentucky alive, at least for a little while. Because you see, I had a tough decision to make. Those boys had murdered my brother, and he was not going to get justice in either Kentucky or Virginia. And my loyal soldiers, they were looking to me for leadership, and I am a strong leader, and I can make the tough decisions. So I did what I knew needed to be done, what we would have done in the war. I executed those McCoys for the murder of my brother Ellison Hatfield. Now, I was not surprised when we were indicted for murder in Kentucky. I also wasn't afraid. Who was going to arrest me? Wasn't a man alive could get to us. After all of this, things kind of settled down for a while. That is, till my boy Johnsy went and married Nancy McCoy. Now, I knew there would be trouble because not only is Nancy a McCoy, but she's from a strong Union family. You see, her father was Asa Harmon McCoy, a Union man. Her sister, Mary, was married to Bill Daniels, another Union man. And just as newlyweds are apt to do, Johnsy and Nancy would lay in bed at night, talking. Johnsy would tell Nancy her moves. The next day, Nancy and Mary would be out hanging clothes or doing whatever it is women folk do, and why Nancy would tell Mary what Johnsy had told her. Mary ran home and told Bill, who in turn told the McCoys. Now, this is very confusing, but the end result is that you had the McCoys knowing our plans before we hardly even did. Now, this did not sit well with my son Cap, who was quick to anger. He decided he was going to pay Mary a visit and rectify the situation. He found her at home alone with her mother-in-law, old Mrs. Daniels. And just as the good book says, spare the rod and spoil the child, he whipped those women just a little bit, just to show them you can't go around carrying tales on another man's family. And you know, when he was done, I believe Mary appreciated that valuable lesson. Oh, but as fate would have it, Nancy and Mary's brother, Jeff McCoy, he had gotten himself into trouble. And he was going to come stay with Nancy and Johnsy while the heat died down. When he got there and found the women in the state they were in, well, he became mighty upset. Said, I'm going to go get Cap. And he snuck away by cover of night, went to Cap's house. My son was not home. However, his wife was. She was home, alone, sick. This did not, however, keep Jeff McCoy from shooting his house up full of holes. And when Cap got back and found out what had happened, well, he flew angry and went after Jeff. And folks, let me tell you, when my son goes after someone, he gets them. More indictments from Kentucky. Yes, sir, those Kentucky dollars were really starting to add up on our heads. Bounty hunters were crossing the Tug River to collect on us. I had to build a fort, move us inland, place guards day and night. We were forced to live like rats in a cage. No, I knew this had to end. I knew Randolph McCoy had to die. I decided that the best time to get at him would have been during his New Year's Eve party. However, after making all the plans, when it came time for the raid, I was laid up sick with the flu. But in my place, I sent Cap and my Uncle Jim Vance, both capable leaders. Unfortunately, things went terribly wrong and the mission failed. Cap had to be protected. Johnsy was now in trouble. It was a terrible mess. And Lord, how it made headlines all across the country. Of course, those articles were slanted against us. Suddenly, everybody opposed the Hatfields. The governor of West Virginia, close personal friend of mine, came to me and said, Ance, this trouble's got to die down. You see, he was afraid that Frank Phillips would keep crossing the tug looking for us. Now, folks, let me tell you, I am a man who is afraid of nothing. But bad Frank Phillips, he ain't someone to trifle with. Besides, I was spending way too much money on protecting us and defending those on trial. So I did the most rational thing I could. I let the feud die down, and I retired to Island Creek. Why, in 1911, I was even baptized. And I'm proud to say that I did not lose one child to the feud. I was never arrested. Lived to be an old man surrounded by my loving family. You know how much they loved me. Well, they loved me so much that when I died of pneumonia in 1921, they had a genuine Italian marble statue of my likeness erected at the family cemetery at Sarah Ann, West Virginia. And you can still go there today and see me standing there in all my magnificence, with my heart pointed towards the West Virginia that I love so dearly, and my back to Kentucky. Now, I would like to thank you kind folks for your interest in us and our kin in the feud, and I would like to thank you for your continued support.
Next, we have, I believe it's Laurel Stewart coming back up. Graduate of University of Pennsylvania with a BA in Theater Arts. She is a member of the founding member of the Artists Collaborative Theater, beginning her theater career at the Kentucky Cycle back in 2002, and is thrilled to be the new artistic director at ACT. She too has been in many Our Town, Grease, Beauty and the Beast, Honky Tonk Angels, and Footloose at ACT Theater. Laura Stewart.
My name is Nancy McCoy, and I'm the youngest child of Patty Klein McCoy. My father, Asa Harmon, was murdered just a few months before I was born. And my sister Mary, she married when I was only 2 years old, so I was left at home with 4 brothers. Now, being the youngest of this group, I was spoiled, high-spirited, and spunky. Now, I was only 15 years old when I met the likes of Chauncey Hatfield. He saw me walking home from school and offered me a ride on his horse because he knew I had to walk almost 2 miles. And just like my cousin Rosanna, I fell for Chauncey Hatfield. So we got married and he moved us over into West Virginia. Now, the real trouble between my family and the Hatfields started while I was living in West Virginia with Chauncey. See, I heard about Ellison Hatfield being killed and about my 3 cousins being tied to those pawpaw trees and shot. I knew trouble was brewing. And Chauncey was so weak in character. He spent all of his time with his daddy, Devil Lance, and his brother Cap, and I knew they was up to no good. So I begged him, just take our family and leave, but he never would. So I stayed over there in West Virginia, dissatisfied with Chauncey and hating his brother Cap, who, for the record, was afraid of me. But after the New Year's Day massacre, things just became unbearable for me in West Virginia. Too much had happened to my family. My sister Mary had been beaten, and my brother Jeff was dead. And I had lost 5 of my first cousins. I was happy to see that them Hatfields were here rotting in the Pike County jail, but I ridiculed Chauncey. I told him it took 23 Hatfields just to shoot 3 tied-up McCoys, and 12 of them just to beat my sister Mary. And it took 9 Hatfields to burn out Uncle Randall and kill Calvin and Alifair, him and Sarah's children. And I told him those men who left my Aunt Sarah for dead, they was cowards. I bravely told Chauncey I wanted me a man like Frank Phillips. Told him I was going to leave, go back to Kentucky, and he dared me. So I did. I took my 2 babies and I crossed that tug, came to live at my mama's house, Patty Klein. Now, my brothers, Bud and Lark, they was living close by, and we talked about that man who would help bring the Hatfields to justice. And they arranged for me to meet my hero, Frank Phillips. Now, they thought I needed a protector, you see, because We all knew what them Hatfields did to women, and they thought they might come after my babies. So I met Frank Phillips, and I decided that was the man for me. And this time my mama actually agreed. So we were married, and we were both from such strong Union families that our union was blessed by President Abraham Lincoln himself. Now, there was more action to come from the McCoys, but this time I could be proud of what side I was on. Proud of my brothers, Bud and Lark, and of course my husband, my hero. But unfortunately, Frank died when I was only 32 years old. I was left a very young, very wealthy widow, and he provided well for me and all of my children in his will, my 4 Phillips children and even them 2 Hatfield children. But the thing I needed most was what money just couldn't buy. I needed my health. I died just 3 years after Frank in 1901 when I was 35, and we now rest together up at the Phillips Cemetery at Peter Creek at Jamboree.
Next, we have Trey Blackburn, and Trey is a 16-year-old sophomore at East Ridge High School and member of the International Societies, and he too has been up to the Act Theater in our town, Christmas Story, Pump Boys, Dinettes, Footloose, and I present to you Trey Blackburn.
Hi, my name is Cotton Top. Some people know me as Hatfield and other people know me as Mounts. My pa was Ellison Hatfield and my ma was Harriet Hatfield. They was the parents of me and my brother, George. They's cousins and they grew up together. They never did get married though. Later, my mom married David Mounts and I lived with them when I was little, so everybody knew me as Cotton Top Mounts. As I got older, I wanted to spend some more time with my Hatfield relatives. You see, my pa, he had gotten married and he had a whole bunch of boys. They's my brothers, I knew them. I didn't live with them though. And my Uncle Devil Ants, why, he had a whole bunch of boys who were always high-spirited and having fun, and they let me go with them. They always had so much fun. They always laughed when I was around. I laughed a lot too. I was a big boy. I was almost 6 foot tall and 180 pounds. I always wanted to do what the rest of the boys were doing. So when Uncle Ants and the cousins went to get them boys that murdered my pa, well, I was happy to join in with them, and I was part of the group that killed them McCoy boys. Now, I was in a little bit of trouble because I had a warrant out for my arrest. But that's okay, though. My Uncle Devil Ants, he said that nobody could arrest a Hatfield, and I was a Hatfield. A lot of my cousins had girlfriends and got married, so I decided I wanted to get me a girlfriend to get married. My girlfriend was Rebecca Justice. I was 18 and she's 36 when we got married. We got married over in Logan County on Christmas Day, 1882. Just a few months after we took care of them McCoy boys that murdered my pa. When Johnsy came looking for me, I was at home. He told me that Cap wanted me to do something. Now, when I heard this, I really didn't want to go. But Cap was my best friend, and I really didn't want to let him down. So I went on to Uncle Ance's house. You see, Uncle Ance, he's sending us on a job. He sent Uncle Jim Bance as the leader, and 3 of his boys, Cap and Johnsy and Robert Lee. 2 of us nephews went, me and my half-brother, Indian Elliott. French Ellis went, and he's a cousin. You see, he married a niece of Devil Ants. Only one of us that wasn't related was Charlie Gillespie, but his mama was a good friend of Devil Ants, and he's a young friend of Cap's. New Year's Eve, 1887, found our Hatfield riders outside that McCoy cabin where everybody was asleep on the inside. Things quickly got out of hand, you see. We got carried away with not letting nobody leave the house. We shot at them and they shot back at us. We set the house on fire and we shot the people as they came out. We killed the boy, Calvin, and the girl, Alifair. And we beat Sarah ruthlessly. She tried to crawl out to the body of her daughter. I was right in the middle of all of it. Yeah, Uncle Lance, he knew we was in trouble, but I knew he wouldn't let nothing happen to us. I wasn't even afraid when them sheriffs came down from Pottenville to arrest me. I told them that nobody could arrest a Hatfield, and the Hatfields wouldn't let me be taken to jail. But I was taken to jail. I had a court-appointed lawyer. His name is Mr. Conley. He's real worried. He told me not to say anything, but Cap told me that if I confessed to everything, why, he'd give me $500 and a saddle and a rifle. So I did. I confessed to everything. Now, on the day of my trial, I confessed, and witness after witness came to testify. Some said that I killed Alifair, and others said that they heard her saying Cap's name and that he's the one who shot her. I didn't defend myself. I was waiting for the Hatfields to come and rescue me. I was found guilty and sentenced to death by hanging. Now, Mr. Conley, he was awful worried. He tried to appeal my case to the next court level. They said my confession would stand. No one came to help me. When the reporters came, I told them I didn't blame the McCoys. It was the Hatfields that brought me to this. They came for me with guns to kill the men who murdered my pa. I was there, but so was Alex Messer and Walt Hatfield. They didn't have to die for what they did. The Witt boys turned state evidence and they got away with everything. Cap killed Alifair, and he wasn't even caught. I soon realized that I was doomed to die, and that I would die alone, with not one friend in the world, and not one friendly face around me. On the day I was to die, only one person came into Pottenville trying to stop my hanging, and it was Frank Phillips. He told Sheriff Maynard that I didn't deserve to die and that he was determined to stop the hanging. Sheriff Maynard told him the law said I had to die. Mr. Phillips was very drunk. To stop him, Sheriff Maynard had to throw him in jail. Thousands came to Pottenville for my hanging. Came from all over Kentucky. They even sat up in the hills to look at the scaffolding. As they led me to the scaffolding, I looked over the crowd looking for Cap. He said he'd come. Well, where was he? Why didn't he come? As they led me to the noose, I told them the Hatfields made me do it. They put a noose around my neck, and they put a black mask over my face, and I heard the trap door spring open.
With us today is Betty Phillips Hurd, who was a consultant and helped in regard to the script. And of course, the Barter Theater provided a writer that has done this script. And what we have to look forward to from this group as they open up. And they open up on July the 29th, and they are 12 more production that they have scheduled for over to Blackberry, where most of everything happened in regard to the Hatfield and McCoys. So we certainly appreciate you all, and we certainly are glad that we are part of this, because it is something that is economic development, and tourism is economic development that is going to be certainly a plus for this county as we move forward. Hilton, I'd like for you to make a statement, and then we'll move on into the county business.
Judge, heard them, and we do have talent in Pike County. I can tell you this. I'm anxious to see the plate, and these people are real active in their meetings. They just met last Sunday over at the courthouse, and I'm just glad that I was able to be a part of helping them set this up. And the bathrooms, you know, we're getting, like you said, we're getting them completed. And tonight we need to go ahead and I think Damus has 2 or 3 quotes on the labor on building the dressing rooms. So when it comes down to the magistrate's comments, I think it's time to move and go ahead and get the dressing room started so we can get ready for them.
Magistrate Harris, before we move into county business, would you like to make a...
I just want to tell everybody what a great job you all did, and I am really excited about the play. Betty, you did a great job writing the script and all the actors. I mean, y'all just did a fantastic job, and I am really, really excited about this summer and the great things that are going on, and just want to thank you all and congratulate you for in advance of what's going to be an awesome summer, I believe.
Thank you, Magistrate Harris.
Judge, I'd like to also say that Stephanie Richardson has really put a lot of time in this, and she was unable to be here tonight because of some other things she was obligated to. But, you know, I think our hats need to go off to Stephanie because she has really worked hard on this, and Chris Coleman and Betty and the group. It's been a lot of good things. And Betty tried to tell me about this probably 10 or 12 years ago, and I didn't know that all this history was in the area that it's in. And Betty, I wished I'd listened to you then, and maybe we would have been farther advanced. That's all I have, Judge.
This is really getting a huge reception throughout the whole country. I mean, it was in the New York Times over the weekend. I mean, the Sunday New York Times paper, great article about the things that are going on here, the increased tourism. And I'm just real excited about all the work that's going into it, and we've got some really good people that are involved, and it really shows.
Thank you, and thank you all again. We have on the agenda to discuss the first time is our telephone services, and we have Darrell Maynard with us, and Eastern Telephone and Technologies. They had the county telephone services for years. And all of us remember the big giant AT&T. They got involved, and a lot of the many hundreds of local telephone companies throughout America was out of business. Darrell Maynard, a local fellow that we all know his family and all, and he was one of those casualties. Darrell Maynard, he's a mountain fellow. We don't give up. Lou Darrell. So he was able to salvage out of that, and we had another company that come in and bought it out of bankruptcy and automatically took over our system. Well, Darrell stayed in business and survived here in Pike County, at Pike County Business. And he's offering services. And I have a proposal for the court today to consider. He has a proposal, and the county attorney and Judge Hayes has reviewed it in regard to the feasibility of it. It don't cost the fiscal court one thing. It saves the taxpayers of this county $24,000, a little more than $24,137 something or two something. But it saves them money every year. Naturally, with our budget problem the way it is, and working on information for us as we have a work session on Thursday at 11 o'clock, I think, on trying to get a balanced budget for the county. We can include that $24,000 as a savings, and that will help a little bit in regard to our major problem we have. So he's here today with this proposal, and He will save the county, as I said, $24,000. It don't cost the county anything. We will notify the company that we're going back to the original company that we had, and that will be Eastern Telephone and Technologies. The other telephone company was Southeastern, and so the other one is an out of county owned service that's providing our service now. So this court is on record that we do business locally, especially when we can save money. So what an opportunity, and we appreciate you being steadfast as a local businessman and steadfast in your desire to continue to make a living and be one of us, and what you and your family have contributed to this betterment of this county. What Darrell Maynard has done personally in our community. We certainly appreciate all that you've done. We wouldn't have had, we're talking about the hallways downstairs, we would not have had the Veterans Hallway if it hadn't been for you. Also, we know that Pike TV would not be here covering this today if it had not been for you. What did Mayor of Pikeville or city manager or Governor Patton know how to start up a television station from scratch? You knew a lot more, 1,000% more than we did. You was here when we started in 2007. You helped the committee as we worked through the years to make this, bring this Pike TV public station to Pike County. So I ask today, and I make the motion that we turn our service back over to Eastern Telephone, to Darrell Maynard. And if there are any questions, Mr. County Attorney, you might, if you have anything to say, or any magistrate have anything to say first, County Attorney.
Judge, the only comment I would make is, after some discussion, the total price that was negotiated or the offer is for under $20,000, so in my opinion, it would not have to be bid. It would, however, obviously require a motion and a majority vote for you to sign a new contract.
Any magistrate have anything, question? Magistrate?
I just had one question, Darrell, and you don't even have to come up and answer it. Is there any reduction in service that we're getting from the change? We're just changing the service over, same benefits? No. Gotcha.
The answer was no change.
Yeah, that sounds great. So we
Have
appreciate you
motion,
working.
have
I
a
know you put a lot of
second.
time into
Go ahead,
quoting this. We
Magistrate
appreciate the
Anderson,
time.
next.
I've got a question. Will our telephones stay the same as they are now in the courthouses?
The answer was no change in the branch courthouses.
I know we've had a lot of trouble since we switched over with our phone services at Phelps. And they've been doing some fiber optic wires and all that. Will you guys pick this up and finish it up? I don't think they've concluded it yet.
Let me say that this particular, there's 3 phases to
Darrell, would you come around the mic since we're on Pike TV, please, so that hear you.
Thank you very much, Hillman, for the question. As far as for Phelps and for the rest of the county offices outside of this courthouse and the jail area, that'll be in the next phase to be reviewed. I will take this time, Judge, thank you, and tell you that we've been working diligently with the court system here for a year, trying to find ways of saving money. And last year, Frankie and Penny allowed me to look at the bills, and your bill was about $11,500 a month. So we did the first phase, 1 and 2, and it saved $2,000 a month last year. So this is phase 3 now, which we're doing just the courthouse and the jail. which is going to save an additional $2,000. So by the time we get done with this phase 1, 2, and 3, there should be about $4,500 a month reduction from last year to this year. Now, after we get done with this, it'll take about 30 to 60 days to complete it. It's our initiative to review all the outlying areas, and Hillman, if you want to, we'll personally meet with you about the Phelps area to see what we can do over there.
That was one of the questions I had is, I know we've had a lot of trouble ever since we switched over, and I hope it's something you can do to
I will,
take care of the problem.
we will make sure we will work with your staff to look to see what we can do in all the other areas after we get done with phase 3.
Are any of those lines, Darrell, charged to the court facilities, the clerk's office? Because I know those offices will probably be closing during this 3-year time period and moving over to the new facility.
That particular bill is outside of this one, and it's not
Separate.
included in this at all.
Yeah, we get reimbursed for that from the state. Magistrate Anderson.
I was just going to second your motion, Judge.
Have a motion on the floor and a second. By the way, we had been using Darrell as a consultant as we tried to work through this budget problem last year. That's what he was referring to. We used him as a consultant as we were trying to save money to get a balanced budget for this fiscal year. We have a motion second. Madam Clerk, have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson?
Yes.
Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Next, we have appointments to the Pike County Heritage Commission. Matter of fact, we, in our research, we want to keep the Pike County Heritage Commission active because they are the umbrella of the committee. They have an advisory committee or over top of a committee that operates Veterans Hallway and Heritage Hall. And they had not been updated. They have not been active. And as we move into this Hatfield and McCoy era that we're going to go through for the next few years, we certainly need an umbrella group, the Pike County Heritage Commission. On that commission, and I introduced Betty Phillips Hard, who is one of our leading historians in Pike County. She is a member to recommend. I'm going to ask Judge Hayes if, as soon as I finish, to make some remarks because he's the one that coordinates this. He will be coordinating their meeting, bringing them together. Next is another, David Deskins, which is a historian, an author here, a former county official. David is working with the ACT group for a production in the future in this courtroom. This is the original courtroom of Hatfield and McCoy. And David is working with Stephanie Richards and others in regard to future years to have a production in this courtroom, a trial that was actually held with the script that David had. Chris Coleman, I've talked about Chris Coleman from Phelps, that been active in the Hatfield and McCoys. Anthony Hawkins from up Ashcane. Anthony is also an author, Civil War. Judge Hayes can tell you that he is a Civil War buff, I guess they would call it. Then we have another author and historian, and Bruce Hopkins, who is from Greasy Creek, lives at Coon Creek. Then we have Stuart McPeak from up in Chick Johnson's area, who has been active and who has been attending the meetings of even in the hallway, has a great interest in history and culture of this county. Randall Osborne.
I'll tell you what, Judge, Randall and Stuart and these fellows up at Dorton, they meet about every couple of months, 2 or 3 nights a week sometimes. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
they don't do it often, but when they do it 2 or 3 days in a row. They get a pretty good crowd. sit there and listen to them one night. You can learn a lot I didn't know, about stuff that they talk about.
Yeah, Master Johnson was saying they're very active up in his district in Shelby Valley. Then we have Everett Johnson. Everybody knows Everett. Everett is the curator of the Big Sandy Museum, a historian himself. Then, Master Harris, we have Jim Kane. We all know Jim and his interest in the past history of the county, especially Hatfield and McCoy. He probably has more that he has spent thousands of dollars, as you know, for the Hatfield and McCoy memorabilia, and for use in the future when somebody gets a Hatfield McCoy museum. But those are the ones that pose them out. And Judge Hayes that coordinated this, all I did was read the names after he did all the work on it. And that's usually what I do a lot of times. Jeannie and others do the work, and I get to talk through the microphone.
Judge, you've summarized it very well, and I'll only take 1 second and say this. We, at your direction, tried to come up with 9 names of absolute first-class, first-rate historians, and we've done that. As you mentioned, Judge, several of these folks have published books, and more than one book, as a matter of fact. And what we furthermore tried to do in that regard, again, consistent, Judge, with the philosophy of this administration, we've tried to be all-inclusive in Pike County. And I like the geographical distribution here. We picked up Chris Coleman, who's been so active over in Peter Creek area with Frank Phillips Cemetery and the Hatfield McCoy feud. We've got Bruce Hopkins, as you said, he's from the Raccoon area, Magistrate Murphy, Randall Osborne, and of course Everett Johnson from up the Dorton Way in Chick's district, Jim Kane from over in Magistrate Harris's district. So I think this is a blue ribbon commission. As you said, it is an umbrella commission. It's not only for the Hatfield McCoy feud, history and all that's going on with that regard, but it's Anthony Hawkins, for example, from up on Elkhorn Creek. I guess that gets Magistrate Robinson's one of his constituents there. He's from Ash Camp. He is a crack historian on the Civil War locally, Judge. So this is going to be an active commission. We're going to get it fired back up. All the people were contacted. They want to serve. They're looking forward to it. Again, I think Magistrate Dodson, Magistrate Harris, this is part of that enthusiasm that the Hatfield McCoy situation has generated. Thank you, Judge.
Do I have any other questions or statements? If not, do I have a motion?
Motion.
I have a motion, Master Dodson. Have a second, Master Murphy. Have a roll call vote, please.
Master Anderson.
Yes.
Master Johnson.
Yes.
Master Murphy.
Yes.
Master Robinson.
Yes.
Master Dodson.
Yes.
Master Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. We will be moving into the new judicial building in July. I'm chairman of the local committee. That building belongs to Pike County government. We meet in this courtroom. Rose does a great job. She's secretary to the board, very active board. But they have asked if they're drawing up different guidelines for the operation of this building. And they ask that this court take action that anything that they needed to take in regard to this building so that they can go ahead and do their planning. So the time has come for us to give them the information. Matter of fact, we're going to hire a technician tonight for the new building. The reason we're hiring him tonight is that it's a complicated, sophisticated building. Everything in it, computerized, latest technology that's known. And he has to have 90 days training. Jeannie talked to AOC in Frankfurt today, and we are meeting their schedule so they can get this person trained. It has, it has a component down there of a very sophisticated security system, very sophisticated, latest technology in it. Has to be trained on it. It has also besides the security system, it has a very sophisticated computerized system, even the lighting. I understand that it's supposed to, when you walk out of the bathroom, nobody's in, the lights go off. So it is very complicated and complex. We have, we'll be hiring somebody for that. But what we have on the agenda today, and the county attorney will address this in a minute, but we have for the court to take action on no smoking. This facility and the courthouse at Belfry and the Phelps Courthouse already has no smoking on it. So they went back and looked, and they found that the Belfry one was prior to the one on this building, so the county attorney has prepared an ordinance, and we'll have the first reading, and I want the county attorney, it won't be a vote taken, we'll have the second reading at the next court meeting and take a vote. But Mr. County Attorney.
Judge, this will be a first reading in summary form. It's an ordinance of the Fiscal Court of Pike County, Kentucky, eliminating smoking in the Pike County Courthouse, Phelps Courthouse, Belfry Courthouse, Judicial Center, and Hall of Justice building. In way of explanation, we have an existing ordinance covering the Pike County Courthouse and the Hall of Justice building. There was a prior ordinance or resolution including the Belfry Courthouse, and I think the Phelps Courthouse basically just went along and dovetailed with our previous ordinance. So basically, the only change would be including the Judicial Center. The ordinance itself is the same as the ordinance in existence already, but just includes the Judicial Center. It does just prohibit smoking inside. It does not include the grounds of any of these buildings, just as way of explanation. That will be a first reading in summary form. It will need to be advertised, and then will be brought up at the next regular court meeting.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
We don't have to have a motion this time. Let me, as I said, we don't, it's the first reading. But then this we'll let them put the international signs of no smoking, which is on the monitor up here, which will be on the building when it opens. So we're taking action to do that, and I think the county attorney has talked to Magistrate Harris, and also we talked to Magistrate Dotson in regard to including those two buildings and make it into one ordinance. Next, we have on the agenda approval to execute the lease for Fish Track Lake renewal lease to DAC W69-188-0156 with Corps of Engineers for park and recreational at Fish Trap Lake. And we have that park area. I think it was 4 different locations, I believe. Jeannie, it was, if I remember, when you all showed me today, and that it listed these areas in this. I don't know whether they're going to pull them up on the monitor or not, but I'll try to find them in this. There are 4 different locations, and it includes Lick Creek. There's the locations on the monitor, and it is our horse trail that we've talked about today. It also has other locations. That's 4 different locations, and this is the time to do this. And it would authorize me by resolution to sign this lease and get it back to the Corps of Engineers to their Huntington office. Are there any questions by any magistrate in regard to this? The horse trail ride, we also, Judge Hayes, we were talking today, we also have to get a certificate from the natural resources on our horse ride, because that comes, you might speak to that, that comes under under the Kentucky Department of Natural Resources, I believe.
It's under the Fish and Game
Fish and Game.
Department, Judge, and we get that every year. We work well with Fish and Game and with Rodney Holbrook and the Corps of Engineers up the park. This is a routine matter. We just need to go ahead and approve it and be done with it.
I make a motion, we approve.
Motion, Magistrate Anderson, second, Magistrate Murphy. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Yes. Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Next, we have awarding of bids. Mr. Stacy.
I've got 3 bids to present to the court. The first bid is bid number 23, digital surveillance system equipment for Pike County Detention Center. I received 2 bids. The first one was MTS of Ivell, Kentucky. Total bid price $45,285.72. The second bid was Abco Security Systems Incorporated of Prestonsburg. Total bid price $39,234. And I would recommend to award the bid to Abco Security Systems, who is the lowest evaluated bid price at $39,234. The next bid is bid number 24 for 6 new 2014 leased tandem triaxle dump trucks. We've received 1 bid from Worldwide Equipment of Prestonsburg. It's for a 2014 Mack GU 713 model. Total bid price per truck, $126,628. The total price for all 6 trucks, $759,768. Delivery within 30 days. And my recommendation would be award the bid to Worldwide Equipment for the 6 new 2014 leased tandem triaxle dump trucks for the total bid amount of $759,768. The next bid is bid number 25 for 2 new 2014 leased roll-off transfer trucks for the Solid Waste Department. Received 1 bid from Worldwide Equipment of Prestonsburg. It is for 2 2014 Mack GU 713s with a roll-off hoist. Total price per truck, $153,538. Total price for both trucks, $307,076 even. And delivery, 30 to 45 days. And my recommendation would be to award the bid for both trucks to Worldwide Equipment for the total price of $307,076.
Do I have a motion to accept the purchase agent recommendation? Have a motion.
Judge,
Have a
I'd like
second.
to,
Have a
before
second,
you-
Magistrate Johnson, have a roll call
I got a
vote.
question, Judge.
Go right ahead, Magistrate Dodson.
If we are in such bad shape as the newspapers say in our budget and things are in, are we gonna be financially able to do these trucks this year?
The guesstimate of how much they'll cost was presented in the proposed budget with the sell-off, with the difference being added in there of what it costs to purchase, to lease them versus what we get back in revenue once they've been used for a year.
One of those that we bid is severance tax.
You know, we're looking at $759,000, and you know, I don't know if this court is ready to make this move tonight, or we got a work session Thursday night or Thursday afternoon to work on our budget, and would this be something that would help ease some of the hurt that we've got in our budget?
We have a deficit of 3.3. Our budget this year was 35 million. We're still going to, when we end up with a balanced budget, we're still going to have a budget of 31 million. Our equipment, this is equipment we have to use to provide services. So I would presume that this could be worked in whatever we do, we're going to have to continue to provide services that people expect us to provide. And that's to keep our roadways safe, and to keep our bridges safe, and to keep our garbage picked up, and provide those services whatever we do in regard to getting a balanced budget. I think that we're going to have we're going to have this equipment from Worldwide Equipment. Mr. Dodson is here. They have been very cooperative with us. They are a local East Kentucky company, and when people used to bid against them, they was from out of state, a lot of them. But in my opinion, the treasurer or the finance director may want to speak to this, but we're going to have a budget of looks like, what will it be, around, you can take the 3.3 from it. When we do get a balanced budget, we're still going to have that money to provide services for the county.
But Judge, if we don't have anybody to drive the trucks and we have to lay them off, I don't know why we want to buy them and park them. And
Well,
I understand that,
we're not going to have
that
to
the
lay, no
request
matter
is
what you
to
do.
lay off each road department one man and cut our road funds quite a bit. And, if we don't have the money to hire people to drive the trucks and buy the gravel and the blacktop, then we won't need them. That's one question I think we need to discuss before we make this move. You're the judge, I'm just one vote.
What's the pleasure of the court?
John, what did you have budgeted for the difference in what the actual price that we're, lease payments that we're making versus what we're going to be getting by selling is that the difference? Is that what you budgeted in there?
In the current budget we're working on, I have $609,650. That would be, I think the way I had it calculated, the minimum reserve is, what's the percentage of the price? 85%. So I try and lowball it a little bit in case we have to go to the 85%, that's all we're going to get versus what we have to pay. I have in the expense side, in the current budget we're working on for June 30th.
The trucks actually did good at auction last year.
$740,348.39. That's about $131,000. We could get more in revenue. I just don't like to project the revenue if it's not going to come in, but I know what my expenses are going to be. Now, last year and the year before, we did better with them. We probably, it's cost us about a little over $10,000 a truck. Now, would you spend that in wear and tear every day versus leasing them for a year and turning them back in? There's only been 1 year since we did it, did we get the reserve met of all the times we've been selling them.
John, I'm not saying, the trucks are valuable and they're reasonable. We enjoy the use of them each day, hauling gravel, blacktop and things. But, when we look at people versus a truck, then that's something I think we need to look and see, what
Well,
we
you're
got.
all the ones that knows the need for your trucks.
Well, I tell you what, I'd rather do that but truck. Do without everything I got except that truck. I think that's the best deal we got in that truck lease.
Mr. Dodson said he thought truck was the best deal that we had.
Yeah, I think the best deal we got, sure do. I've talked to a lot of people about it, that's what they tell me. What do you think about it, John? Do you think it's a good deal?
Hillman.
No, it's according to how you want to weigh it. Do you want to pull that money and use what the difference would be that you won't get back in revenue to keep something else? That's just where it, you have to decide.
Mm-hmm.
If you all want it passed, we can pass it. You all the one that get to use the trucks. You know your need for those trucks you got out there. The other pay for this does not come from the budget per se, because it's money already there. But it's up to you all.
Judge, I make a motion, let's do it.
We have a motion on the floor. We do have a second from Magistrate Johnson. And any more statements? If not, have a roll call vote.
Mr. Anderson.
I had a question for Mr. Dawson. Would this bid, if
Mr. Dotson, come around to the mic.
we didn't vote on it today and we held is the bid something that could be held open with the current prices?
Yeah, that's not a problem at all. I mean, it's,
Jim, can we lay this over to the next court meeting, because we're going to have a couple work sessions.
Yeah.
The downside would be me getting the new trucks to you in time. I mean, if you guys are okay with that, especially on the roll-off trucks, on the garbage trucks. The cost of those bodies alone are $39,000 apiece, and I can't take a chance and body those trucks and spend that $40,000 a truck if I'm not, for sure. So, I mean, I have no issue at all with you guys delaying it, but the downside would be is delay of the new trucks once your guys' trucks go to the auction.
Any other questions?
Well, John,
We actually get a better return on the solid waste roll-off trucks.
Sure.
The only thing we're out's the interest on them. They bring back better revenue at the auctions than what the dump trucks do.
You get 85% back of the grand total.
Think
so
we did
John, are
make
you
money on it
comfortable with the
last year.
numbers? I mean, are you,
Absolutely.
do you have any problems or
If
foresee
I
any
knew-
problems?
If I knew how the budget was going to go and what direction, if that was something where you wanted to save money, that would be a place you could save. It just depends on how you all want to use it.
Judge, could we go ahead and award the roll-offs, Jim, and then the dump trucks at a later time?
Judge, you got a motion on the floor, let's get on with it.
When's the next court meeting?
21st.
Okay, because my plans ahead of time, if this went through, were 2 days after Memorial Weekend's when I intend to deliver our trucks to Alabama, because the sale is the 7th, Jim,
Yeah, that's correct.
and I've got to have them there a week before,
You'll still have to do that.
Right, I'm saying that's fine, but I want y'all to realize these trucks are valuable to us.
They're valuable to Bobby Mullins' department with the condition of his equipment's
Frank?
in.
I know the trucks are valuable, but people's livelihoods are too. When you take a man and lay him off and he don't have a check, then what's more valuable, that truck or that man's family?
Oh, I don't think we know yet where there'll be layoffs. We got a serious problem to work out, but we'll have to do that as we
Jim,
go into the work session.
Would this be a
Mr.
scenario?
Anna, do you have any more questions?
Could we hold on to them until next year and sell them then, even though the resale value is going to be less?
The resale value will be less. Your guarantee will go down considerably. Warranty and all. So, I mean, that's the advantage of taking them on a
Okay.
yearly basis is the resale
Because that
value.
1 year we did wait.
Right.
We need a second.
Got a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Have a second, Mr. Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson,
What's the motion for?
to award the
Johnson
bids for.
made the motion to,
All three bids?
and the question was asked by Magistrate Dotson, could they put it on hold till we had the meeting? And his answer was yes, there was no problem on that part of it.
But the motion's for bids 23, 24, and 25.
Madam Clerk, would you read it so that the court could understand?
To accept the recommendation of the purchasing director and to award bid 23, to award bid 24, and that's the trucks, and bid 25, which is the transfer trucks. Right.
So we're voting as a whole on all three? I'll vote no.
We can separate them.
Voting as a whole, and I said the other one is not, it's severance tax money, which is already allocated.
Master Johnson?
Yes.
Master Murphy? Yes. Master Robinson? Yes. Master Dotson?
No.
Master Harris?
No.
And Judge Rutherford?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next, we have on the agenda Magistrate's Road Work.
Motion.
Motion, Magistrate Anderson. Have a second. Second, Magistrate Murphy. Have a roll call vote, please.
Master Anderson?
Yes.
Master Johnson?
Yes.
Master Murphy?
Yes.
Master Robinson? Master Dotson?
Yes.
Master Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Next is magistrate comments. Magistrate Anderson.
Judge, the only thing I had is I've got a road petition. I think Frank's got a copy of it to turn in.
Madam Clerk, accept the road petition and make it a part of the record, please. Magistrate Johnson.
I don't have anything to do, Judge.
Okay, Magistrate Murphy.
Yes, Judge, just one question on that 17-mile four-wheeler trail over those two coal companies. Are we making any progress on that?
Judge Hayes, would you bring us up to date?
Yes, the lease is in the hands of the land company. It got there about a week ago after extensive changes and modifications. We don't, Charles, I don't anticipate any problems. We will be following up and kind of ramrodding that, but we'd like to get on that as soon as possible.
Yeah, I've had a whole lot of people ask me. Is the reason I want to update on it.
We're very anxious about that.
Magistrate Robinson.
I'd like to make a motion for Frankie to check on getting me a new 3500 series Chevrolet truck.
Motion to come out of your road fund?
Come out of my road fund.
Come out of his road fund. Have a motion, have a second. As authorize the purchasing agent to proceed under the state procurement code to get that information from Magistrate Robinson and place an order. Have a motion to second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Yes. Magistrate Robinson? Magistrate Dotson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Magistrate Dotson.
Judge, first thing we need to do is, we got awarded 2 bridges, one at Scott Fork and one at Lick Holler. This is 80-20 match fund through the state, and the match fund will come out of my road department. And I'd like to make a motion that Frankie go ahead and bid these bridges out. I think John said the money was already available.
I'm amending it in the budget based on conversation with Rick Long, who asked me to pass it. I don't know if the contract has come yet to be signed. Do you know? I asked Jeannie, and she said she doesn't remember seeing it yet.
What'd you do, get these numbers from Rick Long? Said they'd been approved?
And there's supposed to be a contract coming. I don't know if it's
So
not made it
we
yet,
can
but
pass it if
it's getting close to the contract coming.
Madam Treasurer, can we pass it based on the fact we will receive it?
You could
so
still put it out for bid, and you could
I
probably
can
have-
lay it over to the next.
Well, you want to
He
pass
can bid it.
Mr. County Attorney.
Very simple, just go ahead and bid it, and if the money doesn't come through, then you don't award the bid
Okay.
for no funds.
Judge, I make a motion that we go ahead and let Frankie get the bids ready and bid them out.
Second.
Have a motion and a second by Magistrate Anderson. Have a roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson?
Yes.
Magistrate Dotson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes, Magistrate Dotson.
And Judge, also talking with Mike Blackburn with Lauren Land, he has give us the okay that they have some excess property that they're going to donate to us across the road from the Hatfield-McCoy Park. And he wanted us to go ahead and make arrangements to accept this property and let him know what name we need to put it in. So
We talked to the county attorney about that the other day, Mr. County Attorney, and Scott Kreitzer, said you'll be working with him.
Yeah, we just need a motion to accept the property and for you to sign the necessary documents, and as far as put it in the name of Pike County Fiscal Court.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the property donated from Laurel Land and place it in the name of Pike County Fiscal Court and give you and the county attorney the right to sign over whatever and all documents.
Have a motion, have a second. Have a second. Have a second, Magistrate Johnson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Yes. Magistrate Robinson? Yes. Magistrate Dotson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
The next item, Judge, is we've got lumber for our dressing rooms for the Hatfield-McCoy play, and Damus has about 3 quotes on the price of the labor to start building these dressing rooms. And I'd like to make a motion. It's, I think the low Damus, I'll let you go ahead and let us know on this.
Smith Construction was the lowest quote of $3,000.
So we have a $3,000 quote, which will come out of the fund for Hatfield-McCoy Park, and money's available in the park fund.
Okay, we
I'll
have a
make a
motion,
motion
money's
that-
available, and you got a motion from Magistrate Dotson to have a second. Have a second, have a roll call vote, please.
Master Anderson?
Yes.
Master Johnson?
Yes.
Master Murphy? Master Robinson? Master Dotson?
Yes.
Master Harris?
Yes.
Judge Ruth?
Yes, Magistrate Dotson.
And Judge, in conclusion, reading a little bit and hearing a little bit, sound like the city has come on the attack of the fiscal court again over them not having money to do another one of their pet projects. And I understand that it's important to see the city get this new post office built and a new fire station built. But it seemed to me like if I'd been on that commission, I'd put that in ahead of the horse barn that they just built and some of the other projects that they've been doing. You know, they're blaming us for taking their money. And we've not taken any money that they have. And we've not prioritized them any farther than what they was last year. And it just makes you get upset when we've got a county the size that we have to run, and we have very limited amount of money through the coast service money to operate on. And the only monies that we have used in District 5 is for our senior citizens to upgrade their building that they're building over at the Kemper school. And we transferred some money over to keep the seniors from bellying up and keeping their program going so we wouldn't cut the things they have. But, you know, when you turn the TV on 3 or 4 times a week and you see some of the people on there attacking this court and talking about us for not promoting their projects. And the only time we hear from them is when they're out of money and they need us to help them. You know, the airport was the last time we heard from them. We jumped in and gave them money for the airport, helped get it going. And now they want us to take the money away from our seniors and our children out in the county and give it to them to build a post office over there. And we don't have half the post office running in the county. They're shutting them down. You know, we're lucky to have one open 4 hours a day. And the people out in the county are just as important as the people over here. And we all need to work together and quit pointing fingers and blaming one another. If they got a problem, won't they have a meeting? And won't
He
we
said, they said, I heard, and all of that. As I've said before, we represent Pike County, including the city. You know, Magistrate Anderson, he represents people of the city. I represent the people. I'm on the ballot in the city. And I answered that by letter, gave you all a copy of the letter and put it to you all. I answered them in regard to that. It was simple. It's a non-issue, really, because we had approximately 50 projects and that the legislature put in not even enough money to fund 50 projects. The projection immediately after the session was, after that went into law, that, you'll only be able to fund 35. Well, when the bottom fell out, the severance tax and the minerals tax, then we get it, you can only have 19. So it's a non-issue. And the city, they can read numbers, they get them, they know the same thing we know. You know, and they get on Channel 99. I watched it the other night that they saying that it was our ideal that would not be any carryover next year project. It's not our ideal. The law changed. The legislature changed it. There'll be no carryover projects. Now, let me say this. Magistrate Harris talked to me about what he had read in the paper. What the city manager said that we discussed in our meeting in my office He never mentioned one word about any projects or what was going to come out later in regard to the funding of any project other than the first 250,000, which was below the 19 that looks like could be funded. And that's all he talked to me about. We had no other conversation about anything else. So he wasn't forthcoming to me in the meeting. He evidently, I hadn't read it in the paper, Mr. Harris said he'd read it to me in the paper, that I said this and I said that, or he said that it's about Mr. Harris or anybody else. I held a meeting with him because of the question that was raised between them not having enough money on the theater, the first $250,000. And that was a non-issue because that's in this year's budget. He didn't even mention the second $250,000 in my presence when he came to my office and talked to me. So I answered him. You all have a copy of the letter. It was uncalled for. We, and I speak for Pike County government, I speak for myself, we are Pike County. They are the city. Things that's good for all of us, we will work with them. We will support it. Pikeville is a progressive city, but this county is a progressive county. The question is, can we remain a progressive county in the future with no severance tax? And that's simple. Our severance tax went from a tonnage of coal went down from 32 million tons to 12 million. Now you imagine that drop. And now, Charles, we know it's going to go on down. So where we have been very blessed with the tax that I proposed to this state in 1971, for all the money to come back to county governments, the greedy governor at that time, the greedy legislator stole the money and put 50% in the state budget. 2008, $355 million. Half of that went in the general fund of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. One half went to the legislature. And I say legislature because the fiscal court did have the money. We made the decision where the money was to be spent, and we prioritized it at that time. But no, the legislature decided they wanted the money. And we know that my first 2 years, the Fletcher administration, we handled the money here. And then, of course, the legislature took the money back. We get 12% back. We get 12% because we was only getting 4%, and the Governor Patton, matter of fact, he was lieutenant governor. He got the governor to support and to give 12% back because we was only getting 4%. So that's all we get today is the 12% back of our severance tax. We're only going to have deep mines in the future, and that's all we're going to have. We didn't get waived. The war on coal was only on eastern Kentucky. Matter of fact, western Kentucky coal production was up, and the state of West Virginia, where 55 counties had 45 has coal. So we're only going to have deep mine, and it's over with in regard because of the war on coal. It was caused by the war on coal, I might add, it was caused by 2 mile winters and EPA regulation. If we could get permits to mine the coal, it has to be marketable and sold, and they've killed the market. For us, I'm talking about in eastern Kentucky coal and West Virginia coal. And this other states, they've been waived. They can mine any way they want to mine, but we have been, it is a tragedy. We have people out in this county that's hurting today, that they are doing the same thing we're going to do Thursday. We're going to get around that table, and we're going to have a discussion of how we can get a balanced budget. Look how many hundreds and almost thousands of families in this county. Folks, the railroad had 120 people marked up 15 or 18 months ago. I was told the other day it was down last month to 20. Coal trucks. Bobby Branham and I went to Dorton. We went to Marbone. We went to Elkhorn City. We went to Mouthcard. We went to Phelps. We was in Pond Creek. We saw no coal trucks on the road, folks. We saw 2 that day, Hillman, when we was at the courthouse at Phelps. We saw 1 towards Elkhorn City. So no coal truckers. They're sitting at their table trying to balance their budget, and they're hurting. Had a fellow in, introduced him Judge Hayes, 9 years, McCoy Elkhorn. Beg him for a job on the back of a garbage truck. Anything to save his family, survive, save a car, save a truck, save a home. They're hurting in this county because of the war on coal and those other reasons that I gave you. But we are hurting as a government because we ended up, wasn't supposed to end up this way. The bottom fell all at once. And we had to take the last quarter, and the state required us to use their formula to project our budget this year, and it come out. We had a carryover of 1.2 million. Now you add that, that's included the work that our treasurer and our finance director has been doing, that's included in it. But as Magistrate Harris has said when I visited him at his office, that you add that to that and see what your deficit would be. 5 million. I mean, you know, it is a tragedy. Now, we're not the only county, folks. Every coal-producing county in eastern Kentucky is in trouble. The little county of Knott, 900,000. No way with 10 or 12,000 people. Floyd County with a $16 million budget with $600,000. Letcher County, the same as 600,000, and it's a small county. We are a large county. We're blessed. A fellow explained to me the other day, you're such a large county. You have pockets in this county are booming, and you got people that's really hurting. And that's true, because we have $600 million of ongoing contracts out in this county. But we have got to figure a way as a body to keep Pike County as the most progressive county in this Commonwealth. And to do that, we've got a job to do. We've got to work together to do it. We've got to be understanding to do it. And we've got to, some things, and we don't need to be afraid when we do the right thing, is what I'm saying. Do the right thing. Whatever we come up with, do it in unity and do the right thing and don't worry about it. But that's, as he said, it's a serious situation. And it don't help. It does not help when you have a county seat government that continues to he said, they said, doing this, keeping us from bringing jobs, and it don't help at all. Everybody needs to back up, as Magistrate Dotson said, and everybody needs to work together. We're going to work with the city. I just said several times today on projects we just completed. Others we'll be working with them on. Anything good for the city and the county, then we're going to be for it. But if not, we're going to stand up. We represent the whole county. Magistrate Dotson, I took some of your time up, so I'll give you back the mic.
I'm just about done, Judge, but I just wanted to mention too, they're talking about the theater building. We've got a building behind us over here that's capable enough of doing any kind of theater they want to do. And they're struggling trying to keep it going. And now they want to open up another theater building and don't want to even let the people use it that's doing county plays. You know, that's what I cannot figure out, why
the letter that I got back, Master Dotson, says that they can't even use it themselves. Not only us, they can't use it themselves. They gave a contract to out-of-county group, and they're restricted from using their own building for anything else.
Sound like they've got a mess over there. But, you know, Judge, we're going to be here for a couple more years, hopefully, if the Lord blesses and gives us time and knowledge to go on. And I'm going to stand up for the people in the county. I love this city. It's beautiful.
Sure.
But I live in the county, and the people that I represent live in the county. And I'm not gonna
Dodson.
take things away from them and bring it over here and give it to, projects that's not needed.
They have an occupational tax.
They sure do. They
Now,
probably got a better budget than we
90%,
do.
let me finish. 90% of the people who pay that tax is outside the city limits. That means the majority that pays their tax is outside the city limits of Pikeville. And they need as a body to understand that we support. I lived out in the county till this term, and I moved in the city. And Judge Hayes lived in the county. He moved in the city. But they just need to be realistic and understand that what they have in their budget, the people in the county and from the state of West Virginia and Virginia comes in here to work. Some 3,887 who come in this county to work every day.
We have seen some road work on 194 and 632. They got rumble strips up now to keep you from getting over on the other side. So you won't get
Bobby and I made that trip.
So you won't get a citation. If you cross that yellow line now, you'll know it.
Yeah.
And, but, you know, they are doing that. They put us a little paint on it. And I'd like to say in closing that paper attacked Chris Harris for influencing this court on how to vote. I wouldn't listen to him if he told me how to vote, because sometimes me and him don't agree on everything. And I vote the way I want to vote, and he votes the way he wants to vote. And I think
I hadn't read that. He read
too.
that to me, and I can say that wasn't part of the conversation with
That's all I had.
city
Judge.
manager. Magistrate Harris.
Thank you, Judge. And I do want to say that it wasn't the newspaper attacking me. This was a comment that was attributed to the city manager, that he said he had a conversation with the judge. And I'll just read what the newspaper says, because I do want to take issue with it. This is the city manager, Blackburn, says the city is very appreciative of the efforts of District 1 Magistrate Jeff Anderson, to try to ensure funding for the projects, but that conversations with Rutherford indicate the reason the project will not be prioritized, as the City Commission requested, falls to District 6 Magistrate Chris Harris. I was told it wasn't for sure the rest of the fiscal court did, and that specifically there was one magistrate who has been outspoken against the city project, stating that the county projects needed higher priority because they're important to Pike County. Blackburn said, of course, that was Magistrate Chris Harris. Rutherford felt that Harris has swayed the magistrates, that the county had important projects and the money would be earmarked for county's projects, he said. So the city manager is saying, Judge, that you told him that I influenced the other members of the court to vote against their projects. And if any member of the court feels like I influenced them, I'd ask you to speak up now. Magistrate Dotson just did. But I spoke with you before the meeting, and you adamantly denied that you said that to the city manager, and I believe you. And I'm taking issue with the city manager's statement. I think that the city manager seems to have a little trouble telling the truth recently, and most particularly not only on this occasion, but when we sent him the open records request for the Marion's Branch property as well. I don't know what's going on there, but it seems like every time that he needs a little publicity, he just makes something up and gets on Pike TV and has one of his scripted programs. But let me just say this. I'm not against any city projects. I am a fan of the Jenny Wiley Theater. I go to Jenny Wiley all the time in the summer. I'm a fan of the arts. I'm not against any city project. But what I'm for is county projects. I'm representing about 10 or 11,000 people over in the Belfry area that live in the county. And if that makes me a bad magistrate to the city manager or to the mayor or to the state senator, then I'll wear that badge, okay? And I'll wear it proudly because I represent those people out in the county, and I'll wear that badge as long as I'm in office, and I'm going to continue to do that. So I take issue with what's said in the newspaper. I think that again, it's just a publicity stunt to try to get sympathy on the city's part for projects. And what hasn't been said in all this is the fact that the legislators tried to put 10 pounds of sand in a 5-pound bag. And there's so many more projects that were allocated in the budget that they knew was not going to be enough, that there was not going to be enough money to fund those projects. Yeah, I mean, it was clear when they allocated all those projects that there was not going to be enough money. So that's really all I have to say about it. I'm disappointed, but not surprised at the city's actions. I do want to ask a couple questions on a different matter, Judge. We mentioned the Marion's Branch project a minute ago, and I'd asked you a couple court meetings ago to find out if any of the other board members were aware of the Dixon Nunnery appraisal. You know, there was an appraisal that was done before the other appraisals were done, and the city seemed to have a real difficult time getting their hands on that appraisal, even though they had paid for it, and they couldn't even get a hold of a copy of a check where they paid for it when we asked for it. But anyway, it does exist. We finally got a copy of it, and I'm interested to know if the board members of the airport knew about this appraisal and what the value of the Marion's Branch property was when they actually voted on the project. So if you could give me an update, Deputy Hayes, I believe you've been looking into that. I would appreciate it.
Yes, Minister Harris, we have been looking into it. Charles Carlton and I, as a matter of fact, have done some considerable work. We thought it best to start with the documents that we could get our hands on. We have, in that regard, procured the minutes of the December 2010 meeting. That was the meeting of the Pike County Airport Board, Minister Harris, that approved this transaction. Unfortunately, those minutes do not go into a lot of detail. They're very generalized minutes, and there's some mention well, I'll just read it to you. Marion Branch property appraisal status was reported by Bill Hickman. Now, I think Bill Hickman was chairman at that time. The review appraiser was critical of the lack of historical data only, not the appraisal itself. Well, they don't say what appraisal. As you know, there were several appraisals. Mike Thompson informed Bill Hickman that the FAA would approve the appraisal of sale and so forth. Next paragraph, Donovan Blackburn, representing the city of Pikeville, made a presentation. The city's anticipating it goes into all that. But there is nothing in there to say what appraisals the board was apprised of. Now, let me say this. The minutes also reflect that there were only 4 members present, the 3 city appointees and 1 county appointee. We got to looking into the appointments. It appears that as a matter of law, these appointments were never properly approved. I'm talking about the city appointees by the county, and it may be that the county appointees were never approved by the city. It could be that the whole board, from a legal standpoint, was not appointed and sworn in accordance with law. Now, what that means, I don't know. You know, that takes some legal research, but that's where we've gotten. The next step, we've tried to get the board's bylaws, for example. They can't find bylaws. But we've got about all we can do by way of background. I think Charles would agree with that. And the next question and the next thing we need to do is flatly interview the 4 people. Was there another one there that abstained, Charles? I don't recall. But we'll do that next, and at that time we'll have a complete report. I've been fairly general with this, but that's pretty much where we are.
The specific question I'd like to have answered is what board members knew about this Dixon?
What they knew and when.
What they knew and when.
All right,
and did they make that decision based on all the information that was out there, or were they, I don't want to say duped, but were they not given the Dixon and Nunnery appraisal before they were asked to make the decision on what the value of the property was?
We'll pursue that and have their responses hopefully by the next court meeting.
Thank you very much. Another thing I want to discuss briefly is, unfortunately, this week or last week, many of you, everybody should know, I guess, that the county has an open records lawsuit with Utility Management Group. That matter was heard in Floyd County a few weeks ago in front of Judge Cottle. The decision in that case came down last week, and the judge ruled in favor of Utility Management Group and said that the county was not entitled to look at the records of Utility Management Group. It's a very disappointing ruling to me, not only to me, but to Pike County taxpayers, to Mountain Water customers, and also to people all around the state who appreciate and promote transparency and accountability in government. The ruling makes it impossible for the public to find out, not just the public, but the government, us, to find out what happened to all the money that Mountain Water had when Utility Management Group took over. You know, it's very disappointing to me. I hope this isn't the end. I hope that we're able to appeal the decision and get a more favorable ruling at the appellate court. But I'll just say this. Nobody ever said change was going to be easy, but it's something that we have to keep trying for. We have to keep trying to make things better. We have to keep trying to bring more transparency and shed more light in places that, that quite frankly, there's waste and mismanagement. And as long as we continue to ask the questions and demand accountability, we're doing the right thing as a court. And, you know, we can't, basically the ruling, it's really an odd ruling, and as an officer of the court myself, I want to kind of stay away from criticizing what the judge did, but it basically says that the statute is unconstitutional. And I think that a lot of people throughout the state, it really hasn't hit yet the newspapers or the press, but I think that it will, and I think that it'll be a pretty big story throughout the state, that the open records laws, the way they were addressed in this order. So, Roland, I want to thank you for the work that you did arguing the case. It's definitely a setback, but like I said, nobody ever said change was going to be easy. We need to keep plugging and keep trying to do the right thing, and I think that eventually we'll get to the bottom of where all the county's money went. I had a couple more things, Judge. I heard earlier today that you were planning to have our work session later in the week televised. Is that? Are we planning on our work session that we have on Thursday? Are you planning on having Pike TV here to
Well, that's
transmit that?
Transparency.
Yeah, and I have no problem with the transparency part, but I know there's going to be personnel actions or discussions that
no names can be mentioned in public.
Yeah, so that's I guess that's an issue that I don't know how we'll handle that in an open.
I've discussed it with him, and no names. If you get into a discussion about employees, you can't use the name. It has to be done in closed session.
Let me interrupt at this point. I think you can discuss positions without discussing names. If you anticipate going into executive session, then that needs to be listed on the agenda of the work session, because even though we call it a work session, it is, under the law, a special meeting. Mm-hmm. And if you're planning on going into executive session, you will have to specify, number one, it would have to be on the agenda special session, and number two, the reason for going into executive session. So I was thinking at this initial work session, as long as we discuss just positions rather than specific names, that the agenda that I saw was broad enough. But if you anticipate wanting to go into executive session, then we certainly need to amend the agenda to provide for an executive session to discuss specific personnel.
Well, I mean, certainly there's a lot of positions in the county that are just, there's only one name that's going to be associated with those positions. And, you know, I don't know how specific I know specific personnel matters or what, you know, what are not supposed to be discussed in a public meeting, but, I mean, I don't know how you get, I don't know how you get to $3 million budget shortfall without talking about personnel. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just, I just want to throw that out there. I don't.
Again.
One of the problems I had, Mr. County Attorney, and to Magistrate Harris, that we had the other time. We had the newspaper people sitting in here, and then they would write what we said. It was nothing like what took place. That was your problem. And we wouldn't have that if you have Pike TV, because it goes into 24,000 homes, and whatever they write, people make up their own mind. They see it. So that's one reason I thought that we ought to be completely transparent. And still, as I said, I talked with the county attorney and about the fact that we had to have an open meeting. That's the Kentucky statute. It had to be open. And the fact that you would have to have the closed session if you start mentioning names.
I'm not against it. I don't want you to get the wrong impression. I'm not against it. I guess I'm a little hesitant to understand exactly how much we're going to be able to get done, how productive we're going to be.
We talked about it back and forth, too, the same way that you're discussing. Okay. Same way.
Two more small things. One is I got a complaint this week about the weeds at the South Williamson Park. Damus, if you could have the crew go down and cut those.
Yes, they have mowed that one time already this year, but they haven't got back to it.
Okay, the call I got this week was that the weeds were up to their waist, so
Yeah, wow.
they've been growing.
Well, they have mowed it once, but they have not got back to it yet.
Okay. The other thing is, get in line, that's what I say? Yeah, I know. The other thing is the house, I had a complaint about some dilapidated houses on 4th Street in South Williamson, Bobby. If you could have somebody go up and take a look at those and see if we could get them on the dilapidated housing list. I know a lot of times we can put the notice on and give people enough time to start cleaning things up, and sometimes things take care of themselves. And I'm hopeful that if they get that notice, that maybe they'll be able to clean the mess up without us having to take any further action.
Yeah, well, we've got several dilapidated houses that we've been looking at, and all over the county they're wanting them torn down, and we're doing what we can, as we can. But I will send somebody over there and check that out.
Appreciate that very much. That's all I have, Judge.
Judge Hayes, on personnel, we need to go into closed session.
We do, Judge.
Magistrate Harris.
I'll make a motion pursuant to KRS 61-810 that we move into executive session to discuss specific personnel matters and pending litigation.
Second.
Madam Clerk, have a motion. But first, we need to have a motion to bring us out of closed session, back into open session.
Motion.
To have a motion, have a second from Magistrate Murphy. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy? Yes. Magistrate Robinson? Yes. Magistrate Dotson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes. Judge Hayes.
Thank you, Judge. Several personnel matters. First, a truck driver, road lot number 1 at Johns Creek, a 3H rate of pay. We recommend Dennis A. Maynard as the qualified employee and further recommend a 90-day probationary period while he's on that job. Next, a truck driver, road lot number 1 at Johns Creek, 3H rate of pay. Qualified eligible bidder for that job, Caleb McKinney. And we recommend him, and also that he be on a 90-day probationary period for that job. Next, Judge, we had a weed mower / CDL driver, road lot number 1 at Johns Creek, 3H rate of pay. We recommend as the qualified bidder, James Taylor, and further recommend that he be on a 90-day probationary period. These are all consistent, Judge, with the recommendations of the County Road Commissioner, Frank Hatcher. Next, we have a carpenter's job, Public Works Department. That is a position that was created not long ago by this court. We are recommending that that be passed until further considerations of our budget for this coming fiscal year. We did have one bidder, but as I say, we recommend that just be passed. Next, mini packer driver, solid waste area number 2 at Belcher, 3H rate of pay. We recommend Harold Fraley as the qualified full-time employee for that position. Judge, there were 4 positions posted for a custodian job at the new Judicial Center building. And even though we had a number of bidders for those 4 jobs, we recommend, Judge, that we simply pass any consideration of filling those jobs until the appropriate time when they'll be needed on the job. That'll be at least in the month of July, Judge, because they won't be moving in that building until that time, as you well know. So we recommend all those jobs be passed for the moment. Next, Judge, we need approval to hire Tony B. Blankenship as a temporary replacement truck driver for road lot number 5 at a 3H rate of pay, effective April 22nd, 2013. He is replacing an employee who is off on workers' compensation. Next, approval to hire Shirley J. Dameron as temporary replacement custodian here at this courthouse in the Hall of Justice at a 2H rate of pay per hour, effective April the 18th, 2013. And she is replacing a lady who is replacing another lady, and I won't go into the details, but we need to approve her and recommend that the court do that. Next, Judge, is a position that you mentioned earlier. It's an administrative position, and it's an important position because it is the full-time faculty facility. It's getting late, Judge. Facility service technician for the new Judicial Center or Justice Center, as the case may be, at a 0A rate of pay, but to be paid at the rate of, at the 5H rate. Is that correct, Brenda? Thank you. At the 5H rate. And we recommend for that job Judge Caleb Ball, B-A-L-L, a person who is well qualified and highly recommended by the folks who built the new Judicial Center. Now, the reason we're filling that position, I'll explain to the public, in light of our budgetary problems and the whole ball of wax, Judge, and the fact that they won't be open over there for business until July. We know that the circuit clerk will be moving over there a month early. That will probably be in June. And AOC will be paying the salary of this individual as well as the custodians. The salaries of none of these individuals will come out of the county's budget. Am I correct in that, Jonda? That's your understanding. I think that's the judge's. We better have it clear because we ain't got no money. All right. No, AOC tells us they will pay, but they want Caleb Ball on, Judge, as you have suggested. That is a highly skilled technical position that will require him to be in there and be in training for 3 months. They will be paying him. It's their dollar and their call, and that's my recommendation. And Judge, one final matter. We need approval to hire Jeremy Vanover as caretaker and special employee with no benefits for the Lick Creek Park. It's a 0A rate of pay, and that will be at the going rate that we're paying other caretakers of $200 per week. And Judge, let me explain, as I explained in the executive session, that normally the caretaker there at Lick Creek, a very beautiful park, I might add, does not receive any pay, but takes care of the park in exchange for living in a mobile home that's located on the park and the utilities. The problem is, as that has been vacated, our Public Works Department and Damus Ramey, the director of that department, relates to me, it's not habitable, and it's going to require some repair. They've got to get up there on it as soon as we get our pools in operating condition, Judge. But as soon as they do, then that will we'll come back before the court and recommend that $200 cease in lieu of the rent and utilities, as has been the case. Judge, there was one other matter, but at the request of a couple of magistrates, I recommend that we pass that until the next court meeting.
That is I'll take the recommendation for personnel, and it's my recommendation and my motion. Have a second.
Second.
Have a second. Have by Magistrate Anderson. Have a roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson?
Yes.
Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Madam Treasurer.
Authorize any necessary transfers and inter-fund transfers to pay the bills, payroll, health, and life insurance.
Do I have a motion? Motion, Magistrate Murphy. Have a second, Magistrate Johnson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson?
Yes.
Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes.
Acknowledge receipt of previously approved transfers and interfund transfers for March 19th, and there was only approved transfers for April 2nd.
Have a motion. Have a motion. Have a motion by Magistrate Anderson. Have a second, Magistrate Murphy. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson?
Yes.
Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes.
Acknowledge receipt of the Treasurer's March 2013 financial statement and the financial statement for the third quarter ending March 31st.
Motion.
I have a motion. Magistrate Dodson. Have a second. Magistrate Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson?
Yes.
Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes.
Assistant County Attorney, would you have the first reading of a budget amendment? Even though the number is a high number, it is including where we're getting ready to do the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, which is $3,462,800, which is the majority of the amendment. The rest is just housekeeping.
Mr. County Attorney.
In summary form, this is a budget amendment and ordinance relating to fiscal year 2012-2013 annual budget and amendment thereof. Whereas Pike County Fiscal Court has realized unbudgeted receipts from the following funds, be it ordained by the Pike County Fiscal Court of Commonwealth of Kentucky. In summary form, Section 1A, receipts, total amended receipts of $4,528,930.89. Section B, appropriations, a like total amended appropriations of $4,528,930.89. This is the first reading, will need to be duly advertised for next court meeting.
Madam Treasurer.
Authorize the Perfection Group bill for August progress billing be submitted to CAECO for payment in the amount of $665,285.20. Is
I
there
have a
any
motion?
concern with the billing, and that's a go? Okay.
Yep.
Motion.
Have a motion. Have a second. Have a second, Magistrate Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson? Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson?
Yes.
Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Abstain.
Judge Rutherford?
I'm going to pass over the next one, and the reason AOC sent us the new Judicial Center form, but they've only got in there for $285,000 for expenses to be reimbursed. Rhonda's going to talk with them on Thursday and see if we can get that number upped, because we used about $500 and some thousand in the next year's proposed budget, to see if we can get that increased on the front side. Authorize registration fees and lodging for those who wish to attend the 27th Annual KCJEA KMCA Joint Summer Conference, July 17th through the 20th, 2013, at the Gold House Hotel and Suites in Louisville, Kentucky.
Do I have a motion? Motion, Magistrate Robinson. Have a second. Have a roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Magistrate Anderson?
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson?
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy?
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson?
Yes.
Magistrate Dodson?
Yes.
Magistrate Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes.
Authorize me to begin the application process with CAECO for getting the lease in place for the dump trucks and the solid waste transfer trucks.
Have a motion?
Motion.
Have a motion, have a second, have a roll call. Ms. Manager Johnson, have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson.
Hey, Johnny, can you repeat that, please?
Authorize me to make application to CAECO to begin the process for leasing of the dump trucks and the transfer trucks.
Have it or something. Couldn't you let Rose have it or something?
Yeah, I believe it is. I believe it is. I believe that's what it is. Yeah, I believe that.
That's your one.
There,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Mr. Dodson.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Abstain.
Judge Ruth.
Now I have to come back with resolutions and everything to adopt. This is just to make application to them. Authorize the following checks in the amount of: authorized to Frank K. Nall when funds are received from the NRCS funds, closing, recording fees, and title insurance premium for $3,600. $1,800 David S. Jewell and Bryna Jewell, $1,800 Jeffrey Dotson and Kim Dotson. Authorize a check to the National Animal Control Association, Level 1 training to become animal control officers for Lori Goff and Darrell Mullins, $525 each for $1,050. Tax ease, on this one, they want the tax, they purchased the 2006 tax ticket. The clerk's office has refunded them $231.21. The whole total purchase was $2,700 and something, and me and Roland briefly looked at it, and as I looked at it more today, authorized that we not go over $2,533.09 because the clerk's looks like she has given back some interest, and I'm not sure how some of those other fees, if I received them, are entitled to it, and it won't be less than $1,736.65 once Roland and I get a chance to go back over it again. Authorize a check. This is for the 911 department. The Kentucky State Police does their dispatching. We pay their bills and they reimburse us back. Authorize us to write a check for the Pike County 911 from July 1, 2012 through June 30th, 2013 in the amount of $27,605.84.
Have a motion. Motion, Manager Robinson, have a second, have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson. Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Dodson.
Oh, the mercy, somebody, what was all that?
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Judge Ruth.
Yes.
I have no further business, Judge.
Mr. County Attorney, do you have anything else? I have motion to adjourn. Have a motion. Manager Johnson, have a second, have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Murphy, and Mr. Robinson.